Hey buddy, I made some funny shapes on the ground. I was trying to make sure that the idea in my head, the general shape and the math of it would work out. And so I spent a while off camera just playing with it. I think I finally got it down. The idea I have is I want to design a building that looks like it was designed to look like a circus tent. Does that make sense? Like if an architect in the real world was hired to design a building that looked like a circus tent. Now, what I didn't do is, I'm now realizing I never Googled any pictures of circus tents. Probably should have done that, but I didn't. I just kind of went off of what was in my head for the idea of the shape. The idea is I took a really big square and then cut off the corners so that it was a hexagon? Octagon. Math. 8 sides, octagon. Took a square, cut off the corners so that it was an octagon. So now that the main shape is outlined, we need glass. Lots and lots of glass. I'm thinking I want to color this carnival tent as a rainbow. But what color should we start with at the bottom? Probably the least interesting color, I would think. That way it draws more attention to the actual colors. Yeah, that'll look nice. Let's see what we have to start with. Purple, red, and light gray. And is that all we have? Oh, I guess that's all we have, and that's okay. So our first color will be brown, because I think it's the least interesting glass color of them all. And we don't have enough cocoa beans, so off to the jungle. I thought these would be hard to find. Actually, not too bad at all. And another one. And another one. Not sure I see any more. There's quite a few. That's almost a stack. I think that'll do. So now I've made the brown glass. Let's start laying our first blocks and see what we think. And here we go. These go on the hexagon, not the circle. Now I need to think about something to talk about. I'm not really sure. What's a topic that interests me and other people might want to listen to? I should start writing down topics I think about. That might help. So I've been thinking about doing a short because more people see shorts. Some of my shorts have thousands of views, whereas my videos have like 30 if I'm lucky. And I think 25 of those views are just me checking on the video. I've been thinking about doing a short that has some kind of task I want to complete. Something kind of like what Mog Swamp did recently, which is he said that he would put down a cake block for every subscriber the short got. Now, of course, if I did that, I would only maybe put down 1 cake or 2. The channel's still pretty small at the moment. But I was thinking about trying to come up with something that's really exciting that wouldn't be too difficult to get people to want to see. Something people want to see that's maybe difficult or interesting or... Ooh, maybe I have something here. What if I did a short where I showed how inhumanely our villagers are currently living and their poor working conditions? And then I showed a really interesting, cool new apartment building for them to live in. And I said that for every subscriber this short gets, I will move one of my villagers from their current entrapment into a new apartment to set them free. That might be a decent idea. I kind of like that. It wasn't too bad. Only took, I think, 8 minutes per layer. But now we need black dye and we're completely out at the house. So now we need to visit our squid farm. Can't see the squids, but it works pretty well. I'm going to AFK here for a good 15-20 minutes and we should have enough. Oh yes, that should be enough. Okay, let's make sure. Get us some black glass. We need a crafting table. Craft our dye and our black glass. Perfect. Now for our black glass, I think we'll just keep it vertical and just lay 2 layers on top of the brown. I'm thinking we'll go with a simple stripy pattern. 2 layers for each color, so that gets us 32 blocks tall. All right, let's take a look. Not too bad. And the sides do look close to even, with the corners maybe being slightly smaller, half a block smaller or something. But it's really close. I like that. Good place to start. After black, we will go with gray. Oh, that is really big. This might take longer than I thought. Actually, I think 4 blocks tall is good enough for the vertical section. With our gray, let's start building inwards, kind of like a hexagonal pyramid. Time for some light gray. These corners are a little more difficult than I'd like them to be. Is that right? I think so. Yes. And here we go. Seems like I'm averaging about 7 to 8 minutes per color. But then there's 2 minutes of tearing down netherrack, which is going to be a little more difficult when it gets taller. Hey, that's looking interesting. Okay. Time for some white. I think on this texture pack, I wish the white was ever so slightly more translucent. Then I guess it would look more like gray. Netherrack, 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 another rack, another rack, another netherrack. Pop, 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 pop. Okay. That's a pretty nice transition. I don't know if I like the brown for sure, but it at least does blend in with the ground pretty well. So clear's done. After white, I think after white we'll do pink. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. So we could do pink, magenta, purple. We gotta fill up our smelter. Where is our cart? There it is. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Pink glass. We've got plenty. Aerial shot. I think I'm really starting to like this shape. There's a lot of villagers down there. We should probably let them out. One day. Okay. So we need one of these. Some bone meal. Swap them out. Dispenser. And go. I love how that looks. If I ever build a greenhouse, I think I'll move the flower multiplier to the greenhouse. Seems like a good place to put it. So now we're on to magenta. I really like the magenta and cyan blocks. I think they're a really nice touch to the game. If I see magenta by itself, it reminds me of the end cities. So cool. Every time. And now I'm on to blue. I really like the blue next to the purple. Surprised there's not a darker blue though. Let's go look at the completed cyan layer. So now we are 10 layers in, 6 more to go. Oh, you get poppy and dandelions. Dandelions. Is it dandy or danda? Dandelions. Interesting. Ooh, green's a nice touch. Okay. As I'm building this, I know I should be focusing on the carnival build itself, but for some reason I just keep going back to the villager trading hall and trying to design the aesthetics in my head, thinking that if I just picked a number, let's say 300, I can get rid of the villagers we don't need and have every villager that we do plus room to grow. 300 seems like a good number. Maybe 250 is good enough, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind having 50 empty rooms if it meant that I had plenty of room to expand in the future. And I could look into making an elevator so that each floor could be a type of villager, possibly, with some floors having more than one villager on them, of course, but other floors being packed full of just the one. Because we could do a floor for the carrot villagers, a floor for the terracotta ones, a floor for the courts, and have it all organized in that way. And if I can find a good redstone elevator that fits, that would be nice. And if not, I could just do a singular bubble column to whichever floor you want to go to. So you get in the column, you get in the bubble column for 1, go to floor 1. Floor 1 doesn't need an elevator. What am I saying? You want to go to floor 8, you get an 8's bubble column, 9's bubble column, what have you. That might work. I like that idea. Because we do have a lot of villagers we don't need, and I've just kept them because it took time to get them. I don't want to get rid of them. Like when I wanted the golden carrot villagers, it took a very long time, but half of them ended up being glistening melon villagers, which is not what we needed. Maybe having one of those is fine, but right now we have maybe 30 glistening melon villagers, or more even, maybe 40, I'm not sure. So I probably won't tell anyone, but I'm sure I'll be getting rid of those when we move villagers over to make room for more villagers that we will utilize. Is that inhumane? Really need to lay out villager rights and what they're allowed to have. Are they real citizens? I think they are. So I should just let them free, shouldn't I? Okay, that's decided. Won't kill him. I'll just let him free. Yep, the green looks really good. Guess there's no green flowers, so we have to mine cactuses. Cacti? Cactices. Bunny! Bye, bunny. Oh, hey. Sorry, I just wanted to pay you with my axe. Here we go. No, come back. Oh no, not you too. Let's see if the sword works. Nope. Sorry, bunnies. I just wanted to pet you with my weapons. And more lava for our smelter. For us, it's a super smelter, but I think there's only 32 ovens. Lime green. Yeller. Naranja. O anaranjado. I was going to say red in French, but then I remembered I don't know French. And that whole area there, the biome is a desert. So the apartment building should probably in some way reflect that, you know? I already have too many pyramids. I wouldn't want to make a pyramid for them to live in. Maybe something desert-esque. Or I could at least use sandstone to decorate it, possibly. And it doesn't have to be one building. I could split it up to 3 or 4 buildings. Then it might be hard to remember which villagers are in which building. Yeah, one large building probably make more sense. And it would challenge me to design something a little more interesting. I'll have to play around with that idea. Oh, wow. Okay, that's looking colorful. So I've got all the color layers done. Now it's time to start on the roof. And the one thing I know is I want 4 pillars holding up this building or this circus tent facsimile. But I want the building to kind of sag onto the pillars. So it kind of mimics the idea of a canvas tent and how one might be built. Let's get a better look at this and see if this is what we're going for. Okay, it's not too bad. I think that's what I want at each corner. Love the rainbow look though. Very bright and cheerful. Now to fill in the roof a little bit more. Maybe for our villager trading hall, I could model it after a famous building that is in a desert, like tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa? Khalifa's a rapper. Not sure. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I could model it after a famous building and then slightly edit the aesthetic to make it fit the size I need and the general look of our world, maybe. So I'm trying to go for a bit of contrast here, and I think so far my favorite combination of glass blocks is the blue and the red next to each other. I think it really pops. I think it reminds me of Superman. Maybe that's why I like it. Oh yes, very nice. Very nice, very nice. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Okay, I think I'm starting to see the vision. Next, clear blocks and some white. One big perk of this is that monsters can't spawn on it, so that's nice. I don't think they can climb up the sides because it's 4 blocks tall, the ground level. So now what to do in the center? The one thing I know is pretty sure I want a giant hole in the center that's very easy to fly in and out of. Not just for when I'm building it, but for always. It'll make using the building just a little bit easier. Square's not the right shape. Let's stick with the octagon. Yes. Okay, first full shot. Ooh, I like that. The problem is that the bigger the hole is, the more likely we are to spawn phantoms if we're inside and haven't slept for a while. So I think we'll make the hole a little bit smaller. And back to the squid farm for just a few more ink sacs. Here we go, a little sneak peek at what Emily's got going on at the OSHA monument. A little more clear glass. So black may seem like a strange choice, but I'm trying to really contrast the opening of the hole. Now it's an eyeball. So I've never done this before, but I'm sure everyone else has, but I feel like a genius for thinking about it because exactly in this hole is where I want the pillars to penetrate. And to line that up with the ground, I just drop some sand and I know exactly where to place the pillars. A little pro tip there. One of those quick moments of discovery where I thought I had a genius idea that of course felt unique and new, and then I realized that it's so simple. I'm sure it's a common thing people do, but oh well. Still proud of it, and it's still going to work out perfectly whether it's a unique idea or not. Okay, and that's the last one. Let's take a quick nap. I think I've decided to go with birch logs because they're the widest bark tree. I did think about going with stripped pale oak, but we'll see how this turns out first. Okay, I like it, but now we need to go chop down a birch forest. Roughly 8 pillars per fake tree. It's about 32 blocks tall, so I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 divided by 2, 3.5. 3 times 4 is 12, 14. Probably gonna need about 15 stacks. Okay, I don't know. What do you guys think? Does it look festive enough? It's giving off circus vibes. Now for the base, Gotta get rid of the grass, and then go with stone for our foundation. And we are going to give this thing an actual stone floor. Yes, I could save myself 2 hours of block placing if I didn't, but most of our builds, when we create them, especially our big builds such as this one, we try to kind of keep in mind normal physics, where you don't want the floor you're walking on to have a meter gap below it. Eventually this will be our ice rink. Let's go ahead and fill that in. Yeah, I think this is wide enough. Let's test it. Ooh, that is way too fast. It took me so long to collect all this blue ice, and now I'm thinking I have to go with packed ice. I don't know. Let's try again. Oh well, we learned something new. We'll replace it with packed ice later. I want to pause for a moment, make sure I'm still recording, because I'm not sure. Oh, good. There's been so many times I recorded 30 minutes of audio and then come to find out that, hey, you forgot to hit the record button. Oh, well. Okay, here we go. So now we need sand and gravel to make concrete, because we want red concrete blocks and white concrete blocks. So you can use this to make concrete powder and then take it over to our Sphinx and turn it into concrete, and then we should be good. Put up our stuff and head to the Sphinx. Teleporting carrot. Oh man, messed up my water. This is our Sphinx, or inside the Sphinx, and as long as you don't walk with Frostwalker boots in here, then it's a half decent place to manually turn your concrete powder into concrete. Should have put the torches only on the ice blocks themselves, because then they would float in the water and I wouldn't have to remove this line of torches. But lessons learned. And then you just mine it. It should all be concrete blocks now. And that's all our white done. Now for our red. Okay, I think I see it now. It seems to give off Circus Tent vibes to me. So most of you probably have seen this before. This is just to outline the walls of our racetrack. Of course, I still have to replace a large portion of this track with packed ice instead of blue ice. So that's okay. I'll worry about that later. We'll stick with blue ice for now, just as a placeholder. And eventually I have to do the inside ring as well. Lay down some stone first. Sultan Castle would be pretty nice. My only thoughts are I don't want it to take away from Diamond City itself. So if I did it, it wouldn't be too grand, but it would still have to have enough room for 300 apartments, give or take. Now we're not talking giant apartments, we're talking small apartments, 6x6s or something. Like the bare minimum we would need to follow the rules of villager rights. And I might build it out of red sandstone. Instead of regular sandstone. Might be more interesting for a desert. Even though it doesn't quite fit in, I think that might be neat. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe like a desert mosque. I think that might fit into our landscape pretty well. Okay, that's settled. Kiss for you. Mwah! Here we go. Uh-oh. Something's not right here. So now we'll just fill in the stone that sits between the current inner ring and the ice rink itself. Hey, Trader Joe, you got anything good? Not really. We do need packed ice, but I know your stock's not that high. So for this build, I've already mentioned before, we're going with a carnival tent, or rather a building that was designed to resemble a carnival tent. And I don't think I've talked about it yet, but as far as what goes on the inside, you've already seen that we'll have an ice rink or like an ice boat racetrack, just because we've never built one on this server before. It's the first one. And yeah, it is just a plain old regular circle, but we'll add some obstacles and traps to it eventually. As far as the rest of the build, I plan to put hopefully a bunch of mini games in here. We've never built any mini games on this server, and I'm not sure that mini games in general really fit the vibe of the majority of the server. And I know we also won't play them that often, but I think it would be really fun to have at least the option to play them when we feel like it or when there's guests on the server, which happens sometimes. So I think they all belong in here. We'll have the easy ones like, you know, tic-tac-toe and chess, and other classic ones like Connect 4. Then of course some Minecraft specific ones, maybe like a strip leaf don't fall challenge, as well as some lesser no games possibly. I don't know. I went on YouTube and watched a bunch of videos and then wrote down any games that I saw I liked in the videos or games that the videos reminded me of, and made a list of about 25 different things that I would like to add inside of this tent. Something else I need to do is I need to add a very large billboard area where any large builds like this that we think that we want to build one day, we can add them to a sign on the billboard just to kind of start making a list of ideas of what we want to work on. But not just builds, also activities we want to complete, getting a blue axolotl and breeding a perfect horse. We talk about things like that, but then when it comes time to actually do something, quite often we don't have that many ideas to go off of. So if we kind of stockpiled most of our ideas and put them on a list in game, then it might be a little easier to decide what to do sometimes. I think it might be for mostly the larger projects, but it can definitely include some smaller projects as well. Hey, Mr. Chicken. Oh, come on. It's my last piece of stone. Come on. Thank you, sir. Okay. Floor is complete. All right, time to move the beacon. Oh, it just occurred to me that you really should destroy a beacon from bottom up. That way the beacon's still activated throughout part of the destruction. Oh well, lesson learned. Can't wait till we get a gold beacon one day. I think it only takes like 2 minutes to remove a gold beacon, but 5 minutes for an iron beacon, at least for the mega beacons. Terrible. Okay, we're all set with our beacon. Hopefully we don't have to move it again until the build's complete. Okay, so most of the floor is done now, or at least, yeah, the vast majority of it. I didn't include most of it in this video because it's so monotonous, just placing block after block after block. Not that many interesting things happening, but I still wanted to go over the basic idea. So we've got all of our main pathways going throughout the build. Yeah, on these mud blocks will be the games themselves. There's about 16 sections outlined by the pathway, and of course, some sections, depending on the size of the game, can have multiple games in one section. It doesn't have to be one game per section. So we can have 16 plus games in this area, probably closer to 25 by the time we're done. Did decide to make the entire floor slabs. Did that for a couple of reasons. I think the main thinking behind it was just making it absolutely mob proof. However, we are going to light it up, so that's not going to really be a concern, but still, this way we definitely don't have to worry about mobs spawning here. Okay, it's taken a lot of mud bricks. I've already used up our full supply of mud bricks and hay and everything, so I'm going to try to make an efficient manual mud farm here, where I'm just going to plant a large grid of dirt, and hopefully the method kind of plays out well. So here's the strat. You get 9 bottles, and then you do the line of 9 pieces of dirt. You get 9 more bottles, and 9 more pieces of dirt, and each time your line of mud ends at a new water source. So in theory, it should be really quick to continually refill the bottles and turn 9 dirt into 9 mud, rinse and repeat until you got a few extra stacks of mud. Then the mud you turn into packed mud, and then packed mud into mud bricks. Hey, buddy, what'd you do that for? That's my dirt. Give me my dirt. Hey, come here. Come here, Mr. Enderman. I see you. Ah, I got him. All right. Then once you finish making all the dirt into mud, you just mine out the mud and replace it with dirt. This still takes a while, but I think it's about as efficient as you can get. Then we farm some hay, plant some seeds, and we're on our way. And we do this whole process over again about 12 more times. That netted us quite a few mud brick slabs. Another good perk to using slabs is it halves the amount of materials you need. Materials? What are materials? It halves the amount of materials you need for the build. At least in this instance it does. Since 1 full block makes 2 slabs, you can cover twice the amount of area. Simple math, but really effective for gigantic builds. And it has a nice extra bonus of making your build spawn proof. No monsters can spawn on slabs as far as I'm aware. Hay takes forever to grow, man. And gather some more mud. Then tear it down. Oh, way easier to do it from the bottom, for sure. Okay, floor is looking pretty nice. Only a few sections left. You know, a little worried about how it might look from a distance. Well, that's not too bad. You can see the main pathways, but you can't tell the texture of the mud bricks. Okay, now we should be done with all the mud bricks we need for now. Go ahead and tear down the farm. This is kind of satisfying. I like this. You know, I can still hear plenty of monsters when I'm around here. I suppose there's some caves below me. Really need to find and creative and light them up. And farm number 2. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Forgot about the water. Okay, now this might seem a bit excessive, but I'm just going to fill the entire center of each pathway with these glowstones. We have like a shulker of them, so might as well use some up. And it'll do a really good job of lighting up everything. Of course, we're not going to leave them exposed. We'll put the pale oak slabs back on top, cover them up very nicely. You don't even know they're there, except that at nighttime, it'll be plenty bright. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now to rinse and repeat with the rest of the pathways. Remove the wood, remove the stone, replace with glowstone, and replace the pale oak slabs. Been working on a design for some lampposts that can go throughout the build. I think so far I like this design. It should really help light things up. Okay, for these jungle shelves, we're going to need a lot more jungle wood. I guess this is the most efficient way to do this. I've never really paid attention how other people do it, but this seems the most intuitive. Just lay out a line of logs, take your axe, run down the line to strip them. Nope, you don't run into stuff. And then you just chop them all back down. Okay. I'm starting to feel the vision. Hey, Mr. Spider, what are you doing here? It's a little small, but I like it. Simple. End rod. End rod. End rod. End rod. And a few more lights here and there. Okay, I really like this. I think the copper lantern is a very nice touch. It seems our texture pack doesn't have a unique texture for it, but that's okay. For now, I really enjoy the basic Minecraft texture for it. These lampposts, my oldest son, 5.5, he helped me design these. We sat here and he told me exactly where to put what block, and when he didn't like something, he was very vocal about it. This is the lamppost he designed himself. Went through multiple iterations. The only thing I've changed differently is he wanted the soul lanterns, and after he left, I changed them to copper lanterns. But I think once he sees it, he'll like the look of it as well. We'll see. Hey, that works. Cool. Now to get the rest of our lanterns. Since I'm being a little bit wasteful with these lanterns, I decided to stop using up all of our shroomlight reserves. Just recently live streamed my 1000 subscriber special. That was pretty cool. I enjoy doing that. We made a 1000 block Minger sponge and live streamed it. It took maybe an hour and a half or so not that long really. Ooh, I do not like that lightning rod though. No, not to my liking. But yeah, it was really interesting. Didn't get very many views, but that's alright. I didn't announce that it was gonna happen or anything. I just wanted to do it. My son gave me the idea. He's like, Dad, you have 1,000 subscribers now, right? Like, yeah, kid, yeah, I do. He said, well, what does he say? Well, what's your special gonna be? What are you talking about? It's like when you have 1,000 subscribers, you're supposed to do a special. So this 5-year-old spends way too much time on YouTube, I guess. But I did end up taking his advice and coming up with something. So we need a bridge to go over our ice here. But I didn't really plan out what I wanted it to look like. So it's going to be a bit of a surprise to both of us, I suppose. But yeah, so I ended up taking his advice and doing a 1,000 subscriber live stream, using 1,000 blocks to make a Minger sponge, which is like this really interesting fractal shape where it has infinite surface area and a volume of 0. And in the real world, you can stack different levels of it together to make a bigger one and even bigger and bigger. It's really interesting, or I think it is at least. So I'm glad we have one in the world now. I hid it out of the way because it's not like it matches any of our build styles, so I didn't want it to be something we see every day. I threw it in the ocean in the corner back behind our creeper farm and our squid ink farm, and yeah, I decided to just leave it way up there in the sky at build limit, so it's there so I can add to it in the future hopefully, but it's not going to be intrusive to see all the time. Really not sure what I'm doing with this bridge here. This might be the smallest bridge I've ever made. I don't know though. Let's just see how it turns out. So I recently made the switch to 0 calorie, 0 sugar drinks, at least as a rule. And so far it hasn't been that difficult. I mostly do a little powdered drink like tubes or packages that you mix into a singular 16.9 ounce water bottle, 500 milliliters. And they all have some amount of caffeine in them. Not that much. I think this one's 10 milligrams, whereas a regular like Dr. Pepper I think has 35. So this isn't so bad, and it just cuts out on the general calories I'm getting throughout the day. Hey, that looks pretty nice. Okay. You know, I've never been that good at redstone. The way I always do it is either follow a YouTube video or what I'm doing now, which is just put the pieces together, see what happens, hope it works. I'm not realizing that's backwards. I need it to go down when you step on the pressure plate, go up when you step off of it. So we have to remember how to flip-flop it. So on is off and off is on. Nope. Maybe this one. No. Ooh. That's probably not it. It's interesting though. Ooh. Right now the redstone. Oop, nope. The torch is on when the pressure plate's off. And vice versa, so let's pull a signal from there. Hey! Did that do it? Down. Up. Ah, we did it. Finally. Ah, that was so simple. Now to conceal everything. Ah. Okay. Well, seems to work. You just gotta cover it up, make it look pretty. Now to test it out. Hey, desert camel. That's oh, doesn't work on arrows. Oof. Okay, we're gonna duplicate the same setup on the opposite side of the carnival, the exit door, or the entrance, depending on which direction you're walking to it from. Alright, we just copy and pasted everything, and come to find out the exit side of the carnival's at a slightly different level, about 2 blocks higher than the ground around it, so we'll just throw in some dirt here, it'll eventually grow in with grass, we'll call that good. And now to finally remove all of our blue ice. I really should have tested a small section before I went with this. Oh well. You know, it took me forever to get this much blue ice. And then I was a little sad that it was going to get used up on this racetrack because I always planned for it to be part of our nether travel portal, you know. But it is kind of sad that I already laid it all out. At least it's not going to go to waste though. It'll go back in a shulker and eventually we'll make a ice highway to somewhere if we ever need to. This is much more reasonable. Still a little chaotic, but I think this is how it's supposed to be. This is packed ice. Much easier to race on. And it shouldn't melt, of course. Now to get some more packed ice. Hopefully anyone watching has noticed the audio quality is a lot better now. Turns out in the past I had my microphone backwards. Turns out that's a thing on certain microphones. And also I had some settings set incorrectly. I want to say my microphone's a condenser microphone and I had it set for some other type of microphone. Something like that. Changed some settings around. That made a difference on the quality of the sound. But the volume was the big issue before. And it turns out the microphone was just backwards. There's like this little metal dot that looks like a rivet. And it turns out that's supposed to face you the talker, as opposed to having the 9 nice, pretty logo facing you. The logo's supposed to face out. Didn't know that. Maybe it was in the instructions. I don't know. I thought I read the instructions, but maybe I didn't. Either way, I'm really glad that this microphone is now producing a decent quality sound. So now any issues you hear with the sound or anything else with the audio is just strictly my fault for bad editing as opposed to bad recording. So I'm much happier with the audio quality. And of course, I'm sure it'll improve as I learn more and more, but I'm very happy with how it is at the moment. Now my big issue is just learning what volume to turn it up to during the editing process, and then how high to have the ambient sounds and the music, because those are the 3 separate tracks. I have a music track, vocal track, and the recorded Minecraft game sounds, and just trying to choose at what levels to have all 3 of those so that you can hear a little bit of music, you hear all the sounds in the world you're supposed to, but you can still hear my voice without being too distracted by everything. So I'll have to, keep practicing and try to get better at leveling each of those tracks out, but at least the quality should be good. I am getting a lot more efficient at this editing process in general. I imagine a time where I can put out a video 2 or 3 times a week without much stress. I'm trying to work towards that, towards getting more efficient with it, more familiar with the programs and the shortcuts and the faster way to do things, just so I can get more of this content out there. The main purpose being that the more content I get out, the more content I can play, as well as the more of it that gets saved away for future records. Just the more I can document what's going on and what we're doing, all of our shenanigans and projects and everything. There's been so much going on the server recently that my dad's been doing. You won't see any of it in this video, but he's been doing some major projects, and I really wish he was recording just for his own purposes, so he would have, he could maybe upload some content as well, but I'm not sure he's really into that. Not sure he really wants to take the time to edit a video or to learn the process. Once he does it, if he could find himself being a lot less picky than me, you can edit videos so much faster. If you're not, as picky, really, that's the word I'm looking for. I get way too picky with it. I get way too picky with it sometimes. I want it to line up perfectly here and there, or do some cool effect or something, and really I need to back off, because to be an amazing video editor isn't really what I'm aiming for. It's to just put out our Minecraft records of what we've been up to in our server, and so to lean more into that, I need to back off on the editing, or else these videos are going to be so far behind. We've had a lot of projects going on in the world. You'll see in the next couple of videos. We've been making a zoo and a petting zoo and a farm and a ranch and a monster zoo and a boss exhibit, all these different things. The goal was to get a sample of every single mob in the game and display them. And of course, we're going a little overboard with some of the decorating, and we're treating it like it's similar to an actual real world exhibit or attraction, where we're thinking about the pathways and how they're laid out and the flow of everything and the cool factor of all the exhibits and how they are distinct for each animal. And I don't know, we're getting really far into some of it. The regular zoo's pretty much finished, I think, except the bird cage, and the petting zoo's finished, the farm's finished, ranches finished. There's a giant wheat field. There are a few more builds we want to do. There's like a villager village, similar to Minecraft's just basic villages, but slightly nicer. And each house is going to have a little garden of one specific crop outside of it. And so like you'll walk up to the guy with the cactus farm outside of his house, you go inside his house, there will be a chest on a wall, and you open up that chest and it will have tons of cactus in it. And that's because underground, underneath the house, is a cactus farm. And so if you need more cactus, you AFK at that house, you get more cactus. And same for beetroot, bamboo, sugarcane, all the different crops. So I want a villager house for each crop. But otherwise, from the outside, other than having nice little cute gardens, I want it to look like a slightly decorated, basic Minecraft village, a charming little village, nothing too fancy. We haven't built that yet. We also haven't built our villager temple that we're planning, but we will. And as you may have saw in the last video, we have moved our base of operations. The main city was getting a little too laggy to hold all of our items now. We have 500 or 600 shulkers inside of 80 or 90 chests, and that, along with all the other entities and villagers running around and hoppers and mine carts and everything, it was just causing a lot of lag. So we turned off the machines, killed off all the villagers we didn't need, and then relocated our storage area near the house, but to a separate location, to where when you're at the city, the storage base isn't loaded. When you're at the storage base, the city isn't loaded, just to cut back on the lag. One of the last things we want to do, though, is move our block museum. I'm thinking it will go here in the carnival. I think that'll be a cool place to keep it, with the idea that the carnival, has it as an attraction to get more visitors, and it'll cut back on some of the lag in the city. There's a lot of blocks up there, and I know it's causing a lot of lag in the city. really enjoy this type of just simple, methodic building. You can get into a certain rhythm. Anyways, that's enough of my babble. Oh, wow. Ooh, this is difficult with the controller. Okay, though, I can see it. This will be an interesting boat race. Hopefully the other guys are a little better at driving around than I am. Strange you can hear the footsteps. My youngest kid just had his 4th birthday party. It's kind of a cool thought now in some ways because, you know, we're fully done with diapers and they both sleep through the night fully. And I don't know, I guess being done with all the baby aspects of parenting is pretty nice relief. Diapers and nighttime problems are specific issues that were, you know, not the most fun while they lasted. I'm just healing up my tools real quick. Now, to finish this out, we're going to smelt all the gold from our pig farm. We have a whole lot of swords, and I could throw them away, but they're each worth a nugget. I don't know if this is worth it, though. It takes an entire double chest of swords to make one singular gold block. It's not very efficient, is it? But still, I hate letting it go to waste. You know, being a forever world and all. You never know how much material we're going to need for some build in the future. So, collect some more bamboo so I can run the furnaces. Got a 4-year-old now and another kid that's going to be 6 here in 4 months. The 4-year-old will be going into pre-K starting the beginning of next year. He's already been in school since he was 3, so a whole calendar year. But he'll be starting official pre-K next year. That'll be interesting because that'll be full day. Right now he's only half day. So starting, August this year, both kids will be out of the house for 8 hours a day, which is strange. Not sure I necessarily like it as a parent. I always thought homeschooling was a really good option if you're the kind of parent that does enjoy teaching and really wants your kids to succeed. There's a lot of parents out there I've seen, and I've thought maybe they really shouldn't be homeschooling their kids. But like everyone else, of course, I think, you know, oh, I could do better. But in the end, this is an American school. The main reason I'm sending my kids to it is for socialization, to, you know, mingle with other kids, play with them, learn how to cope with social settings. That's really why we're sending them. Because in the end, we really do teach them quite a lot here at the house. Our oldest kid just recently took a math test for kindergartners, and he got 98th percentile for the nation. He also did good on his English. I want to say he got like 91 percentile for the English and reading comprehension. So he's doing above average for kids his age. But we do want to continue fostering that higher level of knowledge that he currently has. The only thing that really worries me is he quite often comes home and says he's bored at school, which is a problem. So far, it hasn't led to any misbehavior problems, but I am worried that it might in the future. You know, if you're too bored at school, you're not maybe paying as much attention as you should, and it can lead to you, or at least when I was a kid, it led to me acting out when I was bored. But anyways, here's our carnival build. Here are a few aerial shots. Hope you enjoy them. Pretty happy with how this turned out. There will be some future decorating and landscaping around it to really tie it into the landscape and, you know, make it look a little nicer. But for now, this is the building itself finished in all of its wonder and glory. It was maybe a strange choice doing the rainbow colors, but I wanted something bright, vivid, and pretty. So I'm very happy with the outcome. I think it hit the mark pretty well. Once the inside and the entrances are done up how I'm envisioning them, I think it'll really give off carnival vibes, you know, fun, family time, bright colors, enjoyment, and the like. Here's it at nighttime. You can see it's pretty well lit up. It's definitely bright enough for no monsters to spawn, though of course all the floors made out of bottom slabs, so they couldn't spawn anyways. Even the darker stars you can see there, they're still way too bright for monsters to spawn. This was a pretty massive project. I didn't fully understand what I wanted to do with it when I first started. I mostly just went with the flow, and I hope it's something you enjoy too. And if you have any suggestions for future builds or any ways to change or adapt this build, just let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you later, guys. Bye, buddy. Thanks for watching.